This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 512 for the week of Monday, March 26th, 2018. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And on today's show, very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump, we have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, you have me, at least.
Our guests today both start with the same letter because we also have Anime News Network writer for, well, now the dearly departed Dragon Ball Super, and also One Piece. Amongst others, we have Sam Leach with us. How's it going, Sam?
Yo, how's it going?
Good. What are you working on after Super?
My Hero Academia should be starting up very soon.
That's right.
Never heard of it.
Maybe perhaps you've heard of Boku no My Hero.
Yes. Now it sounds more familiar. Yes, thank you, Sam and Stephen, for joining us. It's a small crew this week, but we hope to have some of our hosts and guests with us next week as we discuss Chapter 900. But this week, we have a manga recap for Chapter 899. The title for that, somewhat cut off by a giant mace, is The Final Fortress. Not to be confused with Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. This one is significantly better.
Or Europe, The Final Countdown.
Well, at least the Star Trek and this are both alliterative. And we also have our anime recap, and that one's a mouthful. Sam, what's the anime recap episode this week?
The anime recap. Oh, I closed my window. Sorry.
Oh my God, Sam.
I can't answer your question, Zach.
We'll get back to you.
Episode 829.
Okay.
I don't have the title.
Well, we'll circle back to you. So get that title out.
What's the what happens in the episode, and I'll come up with a title for it.
It's
Nothing.
close to what.
Nothing.
And
Shocker. Big News Morgan steals the show.
not
Nope.
yet. That's next.
Nope,
week.
not yet.
The big shocker is I am on the anime recap this week. So
And the title for that episode is Luffy engages in a secret maneuver. The wedding full of conspiracies starts soon.
Soon.
Okay.
you weren't that far
That's
off.
what happens. That's what happens in the episode. Is that something starts soon?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool.
The word soon is doing a lot of work in that title.
It's the best looking episode where nothing happens in
just like
recent memory.
Seinfeld.
I think it looks yeah, but Seinfeld doesn't always look great.
Too. Seinfeld is making is recurring in the podcast now.
It should
Yeah.
be. That by the way, I should mention
And
this
we
at the top.
should say thank you, Dr. Destructo Dome, for making that GIF for us.
Yeah. GIF, however you want to pronounce it out there. That was amazing. And I'm glad to see Seinfeld and our podcast merge in a big way. I've been trying to do that forever, and I'm happy it finally happened.
I like to imagine Yonji getting a fact-checking job.
That sounds about right. We also, I think, had fan art related to our episode for the first time in a really long time. We really encourage everyone to have fun and do that if they can. That was from, I'm trying to pull it out, but we've been getting a lot of mentions the last few days. I'm trying to... anyway, I'll find that before the end of the show. I feel bad.
Maddie something?
Yeah, I believe that's right. But yeah, check out her
right.
work.
Yeah. It was the Jinbei,
The
right?
Jinbei, yeah.
Yeah.
Maddie C.
It was great.
Thank you. There you go.
Maddie?
Thank you, Maddie. That was I always find that kind of stuff really cool. Before we get into the show, I want to mention patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. There is the newest episode of Alex and Steve Eat One Piece. They eat chocolate that I believe expired some time ago. I think all the candy they eat in that segment has expired. So it's really worth checking out. That's available for those $5 and up. We expect to bring some cool new changes to our Patreon in the coming months, so now's a good time to subscribe to get on the ground floor. If you have any suggestions or comments or concerns about our Patreon page, we also really would love to hear that from you. Or if you have suggestions, we'd also love to hear those from you. You know how to contact us. Ed says it at the end of every show. Don't skip through that. It's the only way. It's the one of thousands of ways you could contact us. I also want to mention in this issue of Shonen Jump, Stephen pointed this out because I do not read things thoroughly enough. I am a lawyer. There, at the bottom of the page, it was noted that there will be a several-part series interview with Eiichiro Oda in next week's Shonen Jump. That's the English official Shonen Jump. Please pick that up. I believe Urian mentioned or hinted something along the lines that this was conducted at Jump Festa just a few months ago during our 500th episode spectacular. One of the parts of that we released.
I think specifically it's probably several parts in terms of that they interviewed a whole bunch of people, and Oda's interview of those will be next week.
I choose my more optimistic approach, but sure, that's more likely correct. But it is also probably to celebrate the 900th chapter of One Piece, believe it or not, which is next week. I'm sure we will do some really cool stuff to celebrate that when it comes next week. I also put out word, and this is the last little bit at the beginning I'll mention here. We are looking for some help, especially with the back end for our website. We've gotten a lot of offers, but I'm really not sure how many of them are spam, because somehow all the spam bots come out when I ask this. So I'll ask on the podcast, and please include in your subject header, not spam. If you are interested in helping us kind of make changes to our websites, our subsites, including Endless Schmaltz and OPP Japan. A lot of the reason we have not been able to get those back up are because of both time constraints and actual intellectual constraints that I have. So yeah, please help us out if you can. I think that'll do it though. Are you guys ready to get into the manga recap?
Sure am.
Mm-hmm.
This is the manga recap for chapter 899, The Final Fortress. Ed, what's going on the front page here?
That's what's going on in this cover here. You got the Saga of the Self-Proclaimed Straw Hat Fleet, Volume 31, Hybridin, Buggy's Delivery Escapee List. It really makes it sound like Buggy was keeping the giants as slaves, you know?
Yeah.
When you put it that way.
That's what I wrote.
He's the goalie, Goldberg, the new giant pirate. No, he's the cook, actually, of the new giant pirates. Yeah, mean Knuckle Puck.
Finally, nice to get some Jewish representation in One Piece. I'm
Wow.
personally happy about. What do you mean, wow? I mean, it's just a fact that most people with the last name Goldberg are Jewish.
Why?
I mean, even the wrestler Goldberg is Jewish.
Why are you suggesting that all Jewish people like being cooks? I don't understand what.
I mean, I would love
Some
to be a cook,
stereotypes.
to be fair. I just
I'd love
don't.
to be good at it.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm more fixated on the shield.
Yeah.
That's a very Dragon Quest Toriyama design there.
Do you think it's like carved out like that, or do you think it's like a homie?
That's
I don't think it's a homie.
I assumed it was alive.
Is it like an actual alive thing?
Yeah, it may have a devil fruit.
That's what I was gonna say.
The tongue fruit.
Well, he is a cook after all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's also a very large shield because he is a giant after all.
Yeah.
Wow. That's it's going to be the size of, I don't know, that's like what, 20, 30 Luffy's tall?
Is that?
So-
I forgot that's our measurement standard in One Piece.
It's also a very big club there. It's so big that
Yeah.
it pushed the title of the chapter aside.
Can
well
I
worth
also
it,
just say,
I'm sure.
Can I? Yeah, I mean, obviously. Can I say Goldberg looks more like a Vicky the Viking character than I think any we've seen in a while? Like, really?
Yeah.
It looks like it's out of a different country. I'll put it that way.
Like, we're getting to Oda's deep, like, inspirations here. Like, Vicky the Viking is, like, some of the earliest stuff he's ever talked about being influenced by, and all the old Japan stuff that's coming up for oh god. Wano. Yeah, Wano Kingdom.
Yeah, and speaking of like the title getting pushed out, like it's kind of rare that he actually uses these cover stories to like have stuff flowing out of the borders the way he does on like volume covers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He does do these kind of thing on like what do you call them? Like the actual covers for
Right,
volumes.
that's the volumes. Yeah,
Yeah.
he normally stays within the border for cover stories, right?
Yeah. I feel like it has to be because these are basically like portraits of the characters rather than like a depiction of something that's happening. So
And they're giants, so they're too big.
Sure.
For the
And not to
frame.
critique, I feel bad critiquing Stephen, but couldn't you have just made the font size slightly smaller for the final fortress and fit it all on one line?
Actually, if you zoom in really far, you can see the little footnote that says not to scale. So we're covered.
Good one.
Yep. Any other thoughts? Come on, Goldberg going once, twice. Ed, start the chapter.
Okay. We start with a a bent at 90 degrees dork yelling into the receiver of the Dended Mushi there at Brother Peros. Man, brother, what's Mama doing? What about Bedge? Where's the cake? Depending on the answers, Cacao Island might be in big trouble. So calling out to Big Mom's group at sea, we get another member of the family talking. It's Bavaroa. You can see on his sail there and everything. He hasn't lost sight of them. And now it's he's telling Montour that this is Bavaroa speaking. Brother Peros was ignoring his wounds for so long, and we see that he basically had to have a bit of a sit down at this point. He's completely lost all strength. Give me that. He takes the receiver. We're in the waters outside of Fluffy Island. It's chaos over here too. Chiffon and Bedge have finally let the cake go, and it appears to be like on the beach. Based on the next panel, can't quite tell.
Perhaps, yeah. There's something going on there.
Mm-hmm. The cake is on Fluffy Island now, but it looks like to be on the very edge there. This should all be over within the next few minutes. Well, here we go. So if they happen to put poison in that cake, there's nothing we can do about it now. Alert all of Totoland. So there are 3 possible outcomes of this. 1, Mama dies of poison. This will be the end of the Big Mom Pirates. 2, it doesn't work, but it tastes bad, and then Mama will still be hungry, and she still doesn't have the wedding cake. She'll destroy everything. 3, the poison doesn't work, and it actually tastes good. This would be a miracle, and it's, at this point, the Charlotte family and the Straw Hats and everyone wants the same outcome with the cake. So that's the only way they survive.
I like that all of the possibilities include the assumption that there must be poison in there.
Right.
Like they're really fixated on that.
I mean, to be fair, any idiot would have taken that opportunity to poison it under normal circumstances.
As
right.
Capone did point out.
He did point it out, but then he got swayed away by the flavor.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
It's interesting. Like Perispera just sort of he's surly and clearly he's clearly the boss of this interaction between him and his brother.
Right. Yeah, I was a little confused, I guess, at first by like why they were making a big deal about him like losing all strength, but then it occurred to me that it was probably like some kind of like plot hole defense where it's like, oh well, why didn't he just turn the sea to candy again, or do some kind of powers? And this is basically just saying like, yeah, he's just a bystander at this point.
I mean,
yeah, he's lost an arm already.
Yeah. He's been bleeding out his arm this whole time.
Yeah. Well, it never stops characters before. But yes, now we turn the page and Perospero, is just kind of laying it out. He's the finality of the statement. Our fate rests within the flavor of that cake. And so, yeah, everyone is kind of left to contemplate that. Montour is pointing out, you can see on his little like his little contraption there where the book is, I guess, holding the speakers for all of the different transponder snails there. And so he's saying, yeah, well, now the entire country knows about it. And so, we kind of move around at some random folks who are saying, yeah, Mama's, she's irrational. She's not in her right mind. They're saying that Nuts Island has been destroyed. It was Nuts Island. And then someone points out, I think Montour here is like, hey, wait a second, where did Morgans and Stussy go? And we get some great little caricatures of them. And someone says, oh, they left the island earlier. They what? And he immediately starts delegating, seize them at once, go find them. You can't let this information slip out of the country, especially the Newsie. And,
especially Stussy, but especially Morgans.
Yes.
I think it'd be great if Stussy and Morgans are just like hanging out now for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
that was work
I
as a
mean,
team.
Oh,
we saw them
this
arrive
is
together, so there's no, we can't rule that out.
this is the spin-off we all need. Just saying,
Mm-hmm.
Stussy and Morgan's. I hear a 90s
Stussy,
theme
wait.
song.
Stussy and the Newsie.
Stussy and the Newsie.
So yes, then we go to Peanut Town on the aforementioned Nuts Island, and it's a real sight here. Looks like all the Mr. Peanut, all the big buildings are in various states of being knocked down. There's even a cabinet who has a little bite out of him and also a bandage. He looks very sad about that.
I did not. There are things that fans of ours pointed out that I didn't notice in this chapter, but that one I definitely didn't. That is the funniest sad cabinet.
Yeah.
Well, and Amand is there, not saying much.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the kids are crying, and this is the regular people of Totoland. Getting from their perspective that they are mentioning. We voluntarily give up part of our lifespan to live in safety here, and it turns out that the person we're trusting with these extra years of our lives is actually destroying this place herself. This terrible irony of that. And meanwhile, we go to Beanie Bean Town on Munchie Island. This is
not to be this guy, but shouldn't Peanut Town be in Beanie Bean Town since it is a legume?
This is Daifuku's island, I believe. And because he is the
maybe my microphone's not working.
So the people are. They're lamenting that even the great Struce and the head cook, took days to craft that wedding cake. Even Lady Pudding couldn't recreate such a masterpiece in just a few hours. And then we switch to Tabletown, Cutlery Island, which is amazing.
Oh my god!
Look at this guy.
He is the spoon.
A human spoon, a human-like spoon there. And then you can see a fork and another spoon as decoration in the background, but that's literally all we see of Cutlery Island, which is a little disappointing.
What is this? The tick?
No, wasn't there? Oh no, I'm thinking of my spoon is too big.
Oh yeah, that spoon is definitely too big.
To be fair, if you're gonna make a spoon living, why would you make a giant spoon living? But that's
yeah.
I mean, Big Mom's a big woman.
We'll see if there is a banana later in the chapter.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then we have this chef here who is, like, how do you make a cake Mama finds utterly lip-smacking good? How indeed.
I love the sound effects you chose in that second to last panel. They are the most South Parkian. What was it?
Yammer.
This is yammer.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you literally don't. It's like Steven's like, I don't care what they're saying here. Or Oda, I guess.
Yakety schmackety.
Yakety schmackety. The yakety schmackety continues onto the next page as we zoom out from Cutlery Town, saying there's just no way they could be that lip-smackingly good. They prepare to evacuate here, it seems. And we go to Sherbert Town and Ice Cream Island, which is the island I've most been looking forward to seeing, of the ones we haven't seen, at least. And there is what looks like almost like a snowman smiley face with a cherry on top and an ice cream bowl, a giant ice cream bowl. And there's palm trees, which seem to cut against the entire Ice Cream Island theme. Look, I could talk about this for a while, but
well, you don't have ice cream when you're cold.
Yeah, it's a very mysterious ice cream.
Actually, Sam makes a legitimately good point.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't expect to be like schooled that quick there. Anyway, they are all complaining that Mama is on Fluffy Island now. And I should say, we're about to see some of my favorite, I guess, minks coming up. You get the elephant with the top hat in the little corner there. And the scruffy regular old guy here saying that it's under the purview of Chiffon, Minister of Fluff. And then we head to everyone's Floof Town in Fluffy Island. Is this the first good look we've had of Fluffy Island at this point? I can't recall if we did last chapter.
The page before. Yeah.
So there's
I think this is the first time seeing it in this chapter, or this chapter is our first time seeing
also,
it.
we did make some notes about, remember those, this is a real callback. The hills in Big Mom's flashback were the same as the hills in Whole Cake Island. Well, the hills are the same here. Though we don't know if these hills have eyes, like the ones in Whole Cake Island.
So there's cupcakes and looks to be Swiss roll.
Is that what those are?
Yeah.
Makes sense. God, when people ask what island would you like to live in, I mean, if you just take Big Mom and all these crazy characters out of it, any of these islands really sound nice. Or just living in Totoland. Anyway,
I don't know. Ice cream is like lactose intolerance island.
Yeah, well, I guess if you're lactose intolerant, that would not be fun. You'd be
No,
the guy.
I'm sure there's shaved ice there too. It's just syrup.
Yeah, but then you'd be. It's like being a vegan on an island of all meat. You know, that would get pretty difficult pretty quick. Anyway, we see Prometheus. Right? Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mix them up sometimes.
Zeus has a thunderbolt,
and he hasn't been around for a while.
He's
And
hiding in Nami's pocket.
I believe this is. Oh no, this is just the random crowd here saying, "Lady Chiffon, why did you have to bring the cake here?" And we see the crowd of Flooftown running away from Prometheus with Big Mom perched, tiny Big Mom perched atop, saying, "Run for your lives! She'll ruin this island like she ruined Nuts Island." And also that apparently Chiffon has become a traitor, a backstabber, as Beige had. I love that hippo guy so much. So much.
Did you get that thing I sent you?
I didn't even realize Peter Potamus finally...
oh, God.
I hope he's purple. Like, he could be. It's One Piece.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, technically, if he's a hippo, he should be running faster than anyone else there because those fuckers are mean. They'll run like 30 miles an hour.
They're even faster in water.
Yeah.
Hard when it's just your hind legs, though.
Okay. All right. So you cut it in half, and then it's about sprinting speed.
It's like that funny. It's like that funny video of the gorilla walking on two legs.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that one. You have to show me after. Anyway, Chiffon is just like done. That's
You're not going to mention the cat.
Like. The what?
The girl in the cat costume.
What is there to say?
Actually, I don't think she's a cat. She's just an enthusiast.
Yeah.
I also have to say this is the closest to an anime convention scene I've seen in One Piece.
Yeah, she works at the Cat Maid Cafe.
Yeah, there's a guy like dresses up as a knight. It's all everyone's represented here.
Tree off on the side there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a tree. I didn't even
My
notice.
homies are running.
That is a mermaid in a cart.
No, I thought that was a
it's a
mermaid.
mermaid.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought she just.
Wow.
Like on a wheelchair or something.
I thought she was just in a wheelchair. Yeah.
I think there's our
I
scales.
think you're right. Yeah.
No, yeah.
You could be right. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I think so. Chiffon though looks so just like done. She's like, okay, I brought the cake here because I believe in the cake. I don't know where Sanji looked to learn to cook, but it's even better than the head chefs, is what she says. And Capone is like, look, we got a split. I can't do this voice. As a New Yorker, I can't do New York accents. Anyway, they say, whatever happens here, it ain't our problem anymore. And Chiffon, and apparently, I'm sorry, yeah, he continues. We did right by them already, and the Nostra Castello is dead. So does that mean their ship got destroyed? Is that what we're to take from that?
Yeah, that seems to imply that like all of the guys are probably inside his interior right now.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I was gonna wonder how, and he takes off like a tank, and like a tank, I mean he literally turns into a tank and tanks away. I don't have the verb version for that. Treads away, and he said basically what like a villain would say. I swear, if they don't get away after this, I'm gonna be spitting mad. And then we zoom into Big Mom in a very badass panel here, landing off of Prometheus in front of the wedding cake. Napoleon in his raging anthropomorphic I don't know, variety. And of course, I bet you could guess what Big Mom says next. Wedding cake. And we go to the coast of Cacao Island, where apparently Sanji and Luffy have escaped to sea, Sam.
We turn the page and we got a shot of the Thousand Sunny sailing away from the fleet chasing him. The whole crew is shouting, "Luffy, we're so glad you're all right." Carrot is garchooing him awake, and his like snot bubble pops with like a signort. Luffy he's so like I was surprised that he's waking up already, but he's like you guys, I nearly died from waiting, and like Carrot's snuggling up against him. I almost like screenshotted this and just said like matching icons for me and me. But yeah, so Luffy's trying to play tough. He's like, "Oh, I beat him a long time ago, and I was just waiting for you." And they're calling him a liar. Your wounds are still fresh, Chopper. You must see to him. He's lost as much blood as he can stand, and Chopper is on it. And Sanji is lighting a cigarette off to the side. Jinbei's standing over the whole thing, looking very concerned. Chopper is saying, "The same for you, Sanji. You've been shot." He's just like, "Oh yeah." He's also trying to be tough about it. So then there's a big kaboom, and the one of the enemy ship's cannons have hit the water and barely missed the Sunny, and we see Smoothie glowing as a result. That good one. We'll hit them eventually. Brook is saying they're catching up to us slowly but surely. We're not out of this yet. You'll have to tend to him while we flee. And then we see a certain person. We see Judge, Vinsmoke Judge, shouting fire, and then a big explosion hitting Smoothie, one of Smoothie's ships. And Sanji is noticing this, and Smoothie is shouting, "Damn it, Judge!"
I think it's funny how before that moment at least, she has a very like I guess healthy outlook where she's just like, "Oh yeah, okay, we'll get him. Just keep shooting. It'll work out eventually." Like she seems very happy about the fact that they're not landing.
Getting close.
On the next page, we see this appears to be some of the Big Mom fleet, and there are little explosions arising from the middle as someone says, "Germa's providing backup fire. Shall we fire back?" And the big castle is looming over everything in the background. And Daifuku responds, "Don't bother. The fleet at the port will keep Germa busy." And meanwhile, we have it's a very long distance showdown when you actually see how far apart the ships are. But we have Sanji, who is staring up with his cigarette, and you can see the blood dripping down his sleeve. And then there's Judge in between the ramparts with his Garuda spear, and he is looking down very imperiously, very menacingly at Sanji. There's a lot of unspoken stuff going here. And so Judge is ready to get this off his chest. Instead, he addresses Luffy. He says, "What does he really mean to you, Straw Hat Luffy?" Of course, if we remember, he didn't believe that, Luffy would do this just for his crew. He thought he was coming for Big Mom and stuff. So this is an inescapable den of danger, the territory of Big Mom, Emperor of the Sea. Did you really risk your lives just to take him back? And we get a little shot of Luffy, who is, I think he's mostly just tired, but the way that Oda drew him, he looks very exasperated here, just like, oh god. And Chopper is, giving him the bandages, and Judge continues. "Sanji is the failure of Germa. His skin is no armor. He busies himself with menial cooking. He has no royal pride. He is swayed by pointless emotions and exposes himself to danger for the sake of the weak. His mentality is soft. He is flawed as a soldier. He is a failure." And just really letting him have it. And there's just silence from the ship, and you see like Luffy is sitting up now, and he's just like, "What?" Like, whoa.
I don't know if you've ever seen him make that face before.
Yeah, it's a very fascinating expression on his face. And then Chopper is like, Chopper's doing like the
shock face.
The kids of the
parents
who are about, the kids of the parents who are about to get a divorce. He's just like, "What? Oh my god!" And
Luffy's face is more like he's confuzzled a bit. Confuzzled being the correct word, not confused.
He's not really sure what's going on here.
Yeah.
And Judge is just kind of staring down, like kind of waiting for the reaction. and Sanji's not saying anything, and Jimmy may have the best expression at all. He's just like, oh, this asshole.
To be fair,
and-
Jinbei has 3 expressions, and that's one of them.
Yeah, he's not the most expressive. And Luffy's response is, okay, so long. Thanks for the backup. And he, just like, okay, that's all. And Judge is like, what? Why don't you answer me, Straw Hat? He can't believe that that whole speech didn't get a response.
Yeah, so they keep sailing on, and Luffy's just turning to his crew like, oh, well, that was weird. Why was he just listing off all your best qualities? And
Right?
Chopper agrees with him, which I think is the really funny part. That is definitely not what he was doing. And you got Jinbei off to the side, steering the ship, just having a great time. Whoa, you guys are the best. Carrot
I do like that line of Sanji reminding them that, like, that definitely wasn't what he thought he was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, with the anime episode and this manga chapter, Jinbei is officially the fanboy of the group. I think more than anyone else. It's like, oh, the Straw Hats, they're so much fun. I can't believe I'm here.
I don't know, Brooke was like that at the beginning, but he was always a little bit...
No, Brooke was like, I have been alone for like 50 years.
Yeah,
Please, any company, I'll take it. Jinbei's like, I love Luffy-kun and all of his friends.
Well, yeah. Earlier in the arc, there's that moment where he's talking with the Sun Pirates, and he's like, "Oh, have I really been talking about him that much?"
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
I think this is something Oda. I'm making fun of it, but I think it's something Oda really is also, doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's intentional.
That's what I mean.
Intentional.
Yeah, I don't think it's just us putting that on him.
So Carrot's playing lookout. She's saying, "Whoa, ahead, Nami, ahead!" And Nami looks and shouts, "Oh no, that's really bad, Jinbei! There's a huge fleet ahead!" And they're just shouting, "What? When did that happen?" And so like they've got a fleet chasing them from behind. They got a fleet way ahead of them. I guess this has been happening for a few minutes now, because Smoothie and Daifuku are like, oh, so they finally noticed. They finally noticed all these giant ass ships on the horizon. Sanji's eyes are bugging out. That's a lot of ships. Nami is, charting out the whole situation for the audience. Now we're trapped again. I guess a group of idle ships swung around the island. They're going to cut us off, and we can see all the directions in which the crew is being flanked from. Basically, they have no way to go except for maybe to the right there. So somebody's shouting fire, and bam, something. The cannonballs are. Is it the ship getting hit? Is the Sunny getting hit?
That's on the front.
We're already in firing range. And then we see the Daifuku's big giant genie going after Carrot. That's right, Rabbit. You're trapped fore and aft.
For the last time, Ed, her name is Carrot, not Rabbit.
And Sanji is concerned for her, shouting Carrot.
Sorry, I got distracted by that joke. And it seems that indeed Sanji is the one who steps in here with a cool little kick in midair as a giant genie attacks the ship. Much larger than I think we saw him back in Whole Cake Island.
Yeah.
And
Is he all covered in hockey, or is he always like that?
He was always like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I guess since he's a genie, he could be whatever size he'd like, much like Robin Williams. And he says, "You've got a fleet ahead of you and a genie behind." Truly the most frightful of situations. So I love that panel. Chopper's shocked. Like, there's some huge guy up there. And Brooke, I imagine, giving the highest pitch scream he could give, which fits pretty well with what we know about both voice actors for Brooke. And so the Daifuku's genie weenie continues to laugh, while Sanji just looks a little frustrated by the situation. And Daifuku does not stop his disturbing power here. Finally within the range of my powers. And Smoothie, and Smoothie, I assume just disgusted by what she's seeing, puts her sword away and said, well, at this point, it's just cruel and unusual punishment. And indeed it is, for the audience and for them. We zoom out, and you see the little line of the genie weenie there.
The umbilical cord.
The umbilical cord, sure, for lack of a better term. Because there is no better term. And you see just how they're completely surrounded here. It truly looks hopeless, as Nami is shaded in much darker colors than usual.
Hopeless. Utterly hopeless.
They're suddenly so close. Yeah, we need some C-3PO to come aboard here. I guess Jinbei could do that for us in a second. And the ships that are nearest to them are paddle ships, so there's nothing they could really do about that. It's, it's not wind dependent. They'll just paddle over there. All of those ships look delicious, by the way. You see, if Luffy had a little more energy, he could just eat all the ships, kind of like what he did with Katakuri and with Cracker. Anyway, Jinbei, being our narrator here, saying the situation is truly desperate. And after we survive so much just to get here and lose, I'm sure nothing could bubble up from the water and save us now. And
yeah.
Ed, you want to, yeah.
You try to mess with my... This is just a Tontada voice, isn't it?
Well, it might be that voice.
with my boss, you have to answer to me.
He sounds more like Peter Potamus than the Peter Potamus.
What? Look at that thing. It's just, that's what Natsumi. He's there. He's pumping up through the water, and he's wrecking them pretty bad. People just falling out of like upside down ships out of the middle of the air, and then the Straw Hats see him and said, "Oh yeah, that's one of the Hodie's guys from Fishman Island. It's Wadatsumi." Jinbei, wait, you guys? He came to see you off, Captain Jinbei. Hey, we can still be your subordinates until you leave the territory, can't we? Former captain. Yeah, right, former captain. Yeah, that's pretty good.
This
like,
almost,
now that I think about it, like the last time we saw them was like in this week's anime episode, like in the manga, wasn't it?
They've been, they took away the sea snail slugs.
Right, yeah, Praline had her like singing moment.
There have been glimpses of them, but they've definitely, Oda's sprinkled them, so it's like they're there in the background, but you're going to forget about them, and then when they come up, you're going to be shocked about it, and I was pretty shocked about it. I
should have seen it coming, really. Like, why would they just leave after doing all of that?
So that's the last of the 800 chapters. Let's go around the horn. I just want to say, first off, this almost makes Fishman Island worth it. Sam, debate me later. Anyway, actually, Sam, yeah, why don't you start?
So I don't know how to feel. This is one of those chapters where it's like I don't know how to feel about it immediately, but then it really grows on me as the day goes on. Like I'm concerned, like I'm worried that because we've got all these things where we're wrapping up these loose ends, we're saying goodbye to all these different characters, and obviously the Straw Hats probably aren't going to make it to Big Mom for the big cake eating scene. But there's still so many things left in the arc for me to be like kind of satisfied where things go, and like this is motioning towards like, oh, we're barreling towards the conclusion. The Straw Hats are going to get off, and the Big Mom pirates are going to deal with themselves or whatever. But like I'm not convinced that it's going to be that simple. But like it's weird that because we do have these like very distinct kind of like goodbye moments. Like we had a goodbye with Pudding. We're having a goodbye with the Sun Pirates. We're having a goodbye with Germa, sort of. And yet there's still so much that I want to know from them. Like I'll be so sad if Judge's eyebrows are just like another Doflamingo's eyes situation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I love how we get like a little. There's a very clear parallel between like Chiffon in this chapter and like how Lola was standing up at the end of Thriller Bark. We got the judge and Sanji scene. I think is I think the tone of this moment is super interesting because like obviously Germ is helping the Straw Hats for this moment, and Judge is. He's asking this question, and obviously he's being like a real dick about it. But like, there's a sense that like he really
wants to know
answers. Yeah, he wants to know, but he cannot for the life of him like phrase it in a way that admits that he's the one who just doesn't get it. Like he cannot fathom a world in which somebody would like somebody for reasons other than being a good soldier.
Right. No, it's the children who are wrong.
I mean, I mean, I'm curious what Judge's parents were like, because I'm sure a lot of this is like, raised behavior. Like you have to be strong, you have to be powerful, and that's what's important. And that sensitivity and all that other shit shouldn't
Well,
matter.
also the royal pride and royal attitude. So he clearly was brought up. Well, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he just has these ideas about being like, 'cause we don't really know like how he came to be in possession of the German kingdom, right?
No,
Well, I
yeah.
assume that there is a royal lineage, but like Germa as a kingdom has not been like it has not been in its full glory for
to the
for
point that he had
probably
to go out
couple
and make
generations or something.
he had to like go out and make his fortune or make his name doing science first and developing all this technology, right?
Yeah.
He was working with
He was working with
with-
Vegapunk and Caesar.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a familiar relationship at some
and
point.
actually and Judge and Caesar. That's another interesting thing.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, we could still see him. Not to derail things too much, Sam, and I apologize for getting off course, but it also makes me wonder where Germa is going next, specifically with the Reverie, and kind of how they're going to explain this all away. Because the original reason they weren't going to go to, if they make it to the Reverie, the original reason they were not going to go was because they were joining the Big Mom Pirates. Now that they're not. I guess does Judge have kind of a change of heart about Luffy and Sanji after this discussion? Change of heart might be a strong word, but at least like a grudging respect. Anyway, Sam.
I think it's on purpose that he's still being kind of an asshole here.
You could be an asshole and still be like, that Luffy's got something going on there,
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then the last scene with the Sun Pirates, I thought like I really think that's a genuinely moving moment. Like I'm really excited. Like that 9th person chapter is soon,
For sure. I'm super excited for that. Oh, it's so overdue. Jinbei's so cool. I love Jinbei. My handle should be Jinbei's cool. Steven, what did you think?
This chapter was like, I don't know. It was a One Piece fan service chapter. I feel like, there was just so much stuff that was kind of designed to hit you as a longtime fan of the series. A lot of it is just kind of setting up the climax of Big Mom and the cake, which does definitely seem to be imminent. But then like all the stuff with Luffy getting back to the ship and everyone celebrating that, and then the scene with Judge and Sanji, which aside from all of the the good points about Judge's character in particular, is also just a great moment where he lists all these things that he thinks are insults, and then the crew is like, yeah, but that's why we love him. Those aren't bad things; those are good things. And
I love imagining that, like when Luffy saw Sanji for the first time, he's like, "Oh, this guy's skin is no armor. He's my guy."
Yeah.
I hate people whose skin is armor.
But I mean,
except
like
for
the thing, you think back to Baradier, and a lot of the stuff Judge was talking about was present there, like him being sympathetic and him like liking to cook food and care about people. Like that's Sanji from the beginning.
Yeah, and being kind of self-sacrificial to help people in need.
And not being a soldier when, remember, he was fighting Don Krieg, Luffy, when he first met Sanji. So it's kind of that, like, he's not just a soldier as in a follower. I don't know if that translates into Japanese as well.
Yeah, I think that would be the implication. That he does not serve much strategic purpose for a commander. Yeah. But obviously, that's not why Luffy wants Sanji around, and that's not why the rest of the Straw Hats do either. And so there's this, kind of great little bit of camaraderie there, and then the payoff with the Sun Pirates was also great. I think I think one of the values of this, and I forget if this is just something I was thinking about on my own or if I had actually said this earlier on the podcast, but I feel like these shows of the Sun Pirates, really sticking up and doing stuff that needs to be done to help out Jinbei and to just demonstrate the strength of their bonds it's kind of important for helping flesh out like who Jinbei is. Like it makes all of those characters better by association, because we see like, oh, look at how much trust that all of these other characters who we don't really know all that well, but that all they have in Jinbei. And yeah, we know Jinbei's great, but he still is not technically like 100% officially christened into the group. So there's still like a slight he's still slightly an outsider, I would say. And stuff like this where you get these lasting moments of like, here are the people that he's leaving behind, but they're still doing everything they can for him, and by extension for the Straw Hats. It was a very heartwarming scene, like Sam said. So I thought that's what I meant by like fan service. Like, it's just like it's meant to make you feel warm and fuzzy inside.
And that's such a classic like One Piece moment, that like saying saying goodbye to your old life and seeing how much they support what you're doing. And
right. Yeah, it's great.
Ed?
I really like this chapter. I'm curious, because I agree with Sam in that I think that there's going to be something in chapter 900 involving Big Mom, and that the intervention of the Sun Pirates doesn't really. I mean, that's not going to end this conflict. So there might be something that draws. Because I can't see Big Mom like having the cake without the Straw Hats nearby, at least, or wanting something after that. Because I don't know. I still feel like there's going to be a few more months still of Whole Cake left. 10 chapters maybe.
Yeah, like, because like they're clearly on their way out. We've had like these very sincere feeling goodbyes. Mm-hmm. And yet we're trying to like imagine how a regular kind of sized post arc could possibly fit into this.
I think the Reverie is that kind of post arc. Like everyone's like, oh, the Reverie is going to be its own thing. It's going to, but I mean, I kind of think that's the fallout. I mean, we are talking about, I don't know, the toppling of an Emperor of the Sea, but certainly a real shift in the Straw Hats' power amongst the world powers. And the Straw Hats allies. I mean, think about the kind of things that are coming out of just this chapter. Even you have a former warlord joining the Straw Hats, relatively officially at this point, and the Sun Pirates kind of, Fishman Island losing. Big Mom basically losing her global influence is kind of what this chapter was painting here. It's like, oh, why should I even the citizens of her kingdom are kind of like, well, the reason I stayed here seems pretty moot at this point. I'm going to move to Canada. And Germa kind of having a shifted role after this, potentially being on the side of the Straw Hats. I mean, things are going to change out of this.
It's really showing the wear of this entire battle on the family as well, like with Perospero and like Montdor being sweaty and yelling into the phone, basically the entire, like, there's a lot of Charlotte sweaty yelling into the phone. Bavaroa was doing it. I think Perospero and also Montdork. But yeah, it's just there's no really good ending for them, as they say. Like, even if Mama gets the good cake and she's settled down, like this is bad for her. This is a very bad look, like, because it's getting out, as we saw the Newsies on the Loosie.
Yeah, the Stussy and the Newsie on the Loosie.
On the Loosie. Yeah, they're like, this is getting out. Like, there's no covering this up at this point. So, like, it'd be funny if like Morgan's exaggerates it even more, for the subscriptions. That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, about it at all.
And it fits in with the government's narratives. I assume they want to take down these emperors anyway, or show that it's very kind of confusing.
But at what cost?
I don't think
if it means like Luffy being more powerful.
Well,
it's destabilizing, and it's bad for the 4 emperors. Yeah, it's good for the Navy, because the Navy, it creates a space for them to move in, because there's a space for them now, because Big Mom doesn't have the stranglehold. Like, the Navy probably couldn't get in to Totoland and do an operation like this, but Luffy can, and it destabilized them because it was successful, and now their whole position is messed up, as Zach was saying.
Yeah. Ed, any other points on the chapter?
Big Mom looked insane when she landed on Fluffy Island. That was beautiful. Like, love the whole Luffy waking up bit. That was very good. But But I feel like Jinbei is going to get a big sort of emotional chapter next. Maybe chapter 900 will be the ninth person chapter. That'd be good.
Hey, the numbers fit pretty well there.
Yeah.
Daifuku was horrifying, and
in many ways.
Yeah, I just loved all the reactions to Judge's speech, just of Luffy just not getting it. I feel like although Luffy does make the choice of like I can't even respond to you, so he just pretends he didn't understand, or maybe he just genuinely doesn't understand. But I feel like Luffy's being a little bit more clever. We might give him credit for.
Actually, you brought up how cool Big Mom looks, but I'm realizing we don't actually see her face in this chapter
my
at
line.
all.
Sam, you keep doing that. Yeah, you don't. I
Like
assume
her.
she's like emaciated at this point.
Right.
I wouldn't.
But
be
like,
We
surprised.
see her in profile. I mean, we see the profile.
Yeah, but like it's like we're the story's trying to keep us like kind of impersonal with her for now.
Yeah. I'm still of the opinion that whatever the effects of this cake have to be pretty global, not literally, but I have to assume Sanji and Luffy and the crew will see the consequences of eating the cake in some form.
You want it to be like Yakitate Japan, and it's not poison. It's just so good she dies. You know.
I mean, that's possible. How old is she?
They
She's
have.
in her 60s.
I mean, the people who have been tasting it were dying of flavor. So if she eats the whole thing,
and she's very hungry right now. So
well, she might it's possible she is like taken out of commission, like in a coma or something, because of how good it is.
The beat has finally got her.
Yeah, I have to assume, Steven, you don't have to confirm, but next week in 900 we have to see her eat the cake. I can't. How could they? I'd be super disappointed if that doesn't happen next week. I feel like that's kind of just that. I feel like he almost specifically kind of hinted at it this week and didn't continue it because of that. Yeah.
I mean, she's inches away from it, and there's nothing to stop her.
I mean, there's some other stuff that's happening, but that's like the main thing that's about to happen here. I'll say a few things. What do we call the gentleman crocodile guy again?
he's the aristocrat.
The aristocrat, right. He has a lot of really cool background appearances on the Montdor pages, I want to just point out. It's good to see him back. I also didn't notice Montdor's like transponder snail book system thing going on there.
It's a phone book, Zach.
Okay. Okay. So that was cool. There's I love seeing all the background characters, the cabinet, the spoon. I didn't look out for Panda Man that much. The hippo, the elephant, the Catwoman, apparently the mermaid in a wheelchair. I mean, we got a really good cast of characters. I think Alex, had been saying we have not been complaining really with most of the introductions of Charlotte's and background characters because Oda has been, I think, on fire with that kind of stuff. My initial read of this chapter, I think Sam said something similar, wasn't great, and I think it's definitely grown on me a lot. This is definitely prologue to next week. I don't know what is going to happen next week, but it feels like prologue. I don't know if there's much else I have to say about the chapter. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch. It is cool to see a lot of these islands that we haven't seen before. And this feels like an end of arc, like, things are about to kind of hit the end here because we're getting the what's happening in all the different places, which we always get. I got in Dressrosa, we got it in, well, I guess that's the most recent one. I can't think of another one recently. Yeah, and also still cool to see a naval battle. I think Oda's been enjoying that, and I've also been enjoying that, even with Genie Weenie kind of making that a little weird.
He turned into more of a Genie Meanie this week, I think.
Oh, yeah, he did. You're right. Okay, any other final thoughts?
I think we covered it.
Okay, let's do some anime recap. Are you guys ready?
Sure.
This is the anime recap for episode 829. Luffy engages in a secret maneuver. The wedding full of conspiracies starts soon. It's a very long title. I'm your host Sam, and today with me once again, we have our good friend Ed.
Hi.
And joining us today for the first time in a while, we have normally host of the podcast, Zach.
Hey, it's like
How's
you've
it going,
never heard
Zach?
my voice before.
Yeah.
It's going well. I was thinking when the title card showed up, they had this super wacky, weird music playing under it too. It was just such an odd juxtaposition. The great secret conspiracy, and then like East Blue music in the background.
In a way, this episode is kind of a joke because that's like, oh, the wedding is going to begin soon. Like people probably thought that this episode was gonna the wedding is going to start this episode.
Yeah, to be honest, that is the reason I started watching, because I'm really excited for. I want to definitely try and watch all of the wedding episodes because it's probably the highlight of this arc for me.
The preview for next week's episode looks really cool.
And the animation, I'll just say now, in the series looks like superb. I don't know how often this is the case, but I don't want to jump the gun too much, but it looked nice.
I thought I didn't notice anything bad in this episode, but it varies.
Well, it's a lot better than the last time I was on an anime recap, which, to be fair, is a while back. But yeah.
Go ahead,
the title card begins at 3 minutes and 32 seconds. We're continuing the conversation between the Straw Hats and the Fire Tanks, and Luffy mentions that he has an awesome idea that for his big entrance. And Carrot and Chopper want to know what it is, but he's like, nope, can't tell you. It's a secret. So since Sanji can't actually kiss Pudding at the wedding, and that can't be the signal, instead he's going to dodge the bullet that she shoots, and then the gunshot will be the signal. That'll be Luffy's notification to go nuts.
Yeah, I felt differently, I think, last week about this. Like, I've had enough of this conversation at this point. Like, this conversation was tense and interesting last week. Now I'm just like, okay, can we move on to the next? Can everyone get moving?
And once again, I think you and I are on opposite sides. So we get
it's welcome with me.
We get a little silhouette demonstration of what's going to go on. We see, Pudding shooting the bullet, chasing after Luffy, who's trying to punch the Mother Crumble picture. Capone brings up his invisible Symphonia system again, and Sanji's he's telling him, just say earplugs. It's annoying that you try to make it sound fancy. Capone.
I wear my invisible Symphonia system every night to bed. It does sound better. Let's be fair.
Than earplugs.
Yeah.
I choose not to live in the city.
One day.
So we're learning the plans for the escape route. Capone says, all right, once everything's in place, this dumbass, he's pointing at Caesar Clown, this dumbass is gonna, fly us out. And Caesar's making his he's like, yes, that's me. Wait, what'd you call me?
Yeah.
We've got Caesar. So Caesar is in charge of Brûlé, and he's gonna be flying around, and she's going to be their way. She's going to be their escape. They're going to use her mirror powers to go into her world and then come out the other end through one of the mirrors on the Thousand Sunny.
Yes, it's very convenient that even Capone remarks upon how convenient she is, and we couldn't have asked for a better power for escaping.
Right. So Sanji's got to get back to his room. We cut to Bobbins. He's laying face down on the ground because he was shot by Vito a few episodes ago. They keep saying he's dead here. I don't know how true that is, but
from what I know of my basic Japanese vocabulary, they were using the word for kill, or it sounded like it. At least they think he's dead,
Right, and their suspicion is that it could have been either Luffy or Sanji. So Montdor is off to Sanji's room to check in on him.
There are two things. First off, all they could have done to check Bobbins, whether he's dead or alive, is check his pulse. I mean, I guess it would be some sort of springing pulse for him.
They're sure that he is dead.
So is that the first confirmed death in One Piece?
No, Mr. 11.
I mean, besides Whitebeard and Ace. Mr. 11, yeah. I guess that's true. Also, Montdor looks...
Eric the Whirlwind.
Montdor looks so... I can't forget him. Montdor looks so intimidating in this whole... It's like a horror movie character, and I never got that in the manga, but I like it. It's different.
Yeah, they really get the.
He's wearing the bad guys from Karate Kid outfit.
Yeah, they really got like the details on his face really really well. So there's this whole
drinker. He's got these bumps all over his nose, these lumps and bumps. They're big red nose.
Like he's knocking on Sanji's door. So there's this whole kind of suspenseful sequence where it's that eggplant man sleeping, and he fell asleep in Sanji's bed. And he's like, oh no, they're gonna find out that Sanji disappeared, and we're kind of like trying to figure out what's gonna happen. The door opens and Sanji's there. Somehow he made it back to the room. He's completely playing it cool. Montdora is telling him, oh, by the way, we think that Straw Hat's dead, and then trying to gauge Sanji's reaction. And Sanji, he's not given a whole lot, but Montdora follows up with, we say he's dead, but I don't personally believe it. I have reason to suspect that you and him are in cahoots and doing some shady stuff behind the scenes. And Sanji, he rejects that. He's like, nope, I'm gonna get married tomorrow. Everything's gonna everything's gonna go as planned. Yeah, exactly.
But it's also like the threat of like the next part of the scene is where he basically threatens Mount Dora with like, you don't have any evidence that I'm doing anything, and what are you gonna do? Interfere with the tea party? You gonna interfere with the wedding?
Right.
Like, what's your thing, man? You don't have anything on me.
Yeah, so he gets Montdora off his back, and we get a little flashback to how Sanji got into the room. He's like skywalking to the chateau, like really, really fast. He breaks through the window, like just in time, just as the eggplant man is like getting up and out of bed. All looks really nice. Like this episode's really polished. So that's basically what happened. And then that brings us to the eye catch of the episode. And then when we return, we see a little montage of the different locations throughout Totoland. We see Cheese Town on Milk Island. It's a cheesy place. We see Peanut Town on Nuts Island. We get the Mr. Peanut guy with the monocle.
Love that guy.
Chocolate Town from Cacao Island. We've been there. I really like these. I love how like kind of busy and like lived in Totoland feels here.
It's actually something interesting. Or actually, it sort of ties into something one of the characters says in the manga this week, so I can't really talk about it here.
We cut to the people of Germa, the soldier clones from Germa 66 or 66, and they're like
this scene.
They're asking if it's if they're like, oh well, we aren't involved in the wedding necessarily because no one needs a guard for a wedding, which is a really dumb thing to say.
But it's usually right though. I mean, it's usually right.
Yeah, but when everyone's as high profile as they are at this wedding,
I guess.
So we see the Vinsmokes getting up in the morning. They're getting ready. We see the boys, the men. They're putting their suits on. They're in their undershirts, and I actually really like this shot where it's like we kind of follow Niji. We pull back and Judge steps into frame, and then we pull back further and we land on Ichiji. It's a really cool, little stylish thing.
We've seen their tattoos before, especially was it Ichiji's?
Probably not. No.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Big Mom is now waking up in the morning. She's discovered that her new pet skeleton seems to have died. It's not moving. It's not living or breathing.
To be fair, it's possible that Brooke was just sleeping. If that were actually Brooke,
right? Well, she was like,
how would she know?
Shaking them, trying to wake him up, and there's a lot of little flourishes in this episode that I thought really worked. Like she's kind of shaking Brooke in her hand, the quote unquote Brooke in her hand, and like the neck is just like falling over.
But then when she finds out about the cake and the wedding and the tea party, and she's like, throw it on the floor, throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, she's over it now. Wedding
After
cake.
A couple years, still a few tears.
So on the shore of Whole Cake Island, we see Peckham's is just tied up to a rock. He's growling and saying, are you guys trying to defect? Does Mama know about this? Yada yada. And they're like, don't worry, we trust that somebody will come around and find you eventually, Mr. Peckham's. But they go and we're thinking back to a moment that Aladdin had with Jinbei and the whole Sun Pirates, I think. But Aladdin is. So I don't think I think I took for granted that we did get this kind of piece of information on, or at least we're getting it now. This piece of information on Big Mom's roulette wheel, where part of the reason why Jinbei did not agree to it is because like there are numbers on it, and the numbers refer to how many like of your own loved ones have to also get hurt as a result of you trying to leave the crew. So that's something that even the honorable Jinbei can't agree to, and so he's going for the total betrayal route. And his crew is like really worried that he is so ready to sacrifice his life for Luffy, and he's like, "Yep, that's how I feel."
I'm joining the Straw Hat Pirates, is what he's saying.
Yes, I'm joining the Straw Hat Pirates, and if Luffy is going to be my captain, then I will have to risk my life for him, and that's just a matter of whether I do that now or later. So that is ominous and exciting. We come back to the Vinsmokes again. They're walking through the halls. They're now in their wedding duds, their Sunday best, and they're like I one of the effects that I've really liked in this episode is there's a lot of like light glare in the camera, like of the morning sun kind of peering through the windows and stuff. And you see that a lot, and it's very atmospheric. And you see the Vinsmokes. They're talking like, "Oh, is Sanji? He's not going to screw us over, is he?" And then they apparently they had the news that yes, the bride and the groom are both available. They're both getting ready. We see a little scene of Sanji getting into his groom's outfit, is all white. We come to a scene where we see Pudding. We get to see Pudding in her wedding dress for the first time. She's talking to Arabian and what's her blob's name? Nitro. Yes. They're like kind of teasing her, like, "Oh, pre-wedding jitters, Pudding," and Pudding is she feels very burdened by this whole job. She's like, "Oh, I don't want to shoot this Vinsmoke kid and get his blood all over me. Once that's happened, then I'm gonna have to remove everyone's memories. What a pain in the ass." So she's kind of using her like cutesy voice, but like using it to be kind of crass. And so the episode ends with the narrator leading us out, just sort of reminding us where everyone's at. We get
four times.
Get a look at Capone. Get a look at what Big Mom's up to. And then it's like, oh, but the key to all this, the person who's gonna make all the difference in the world is Straw Hat Luffy, and that's basically how the episode ends.
Yeah, but is he really?
There's a lot of moving pieces.
It just kind of felt like I guess it is a Sunday morning TV show, but
Zach, I have to say I've been watching a lot of Zeta Gundam lately. It's very dense, very.
I've heard of it.
I wish I had recaps like this on shows like that and not on shows like this, where I don't need them.
Yeah, I mean, One Piece has always had recaps where they were 100% not necessary. But it's like the main character is the one who will save the day. I'm like, okay. I
wanted to mention the one joke that we did not talk about of the eggplant guy. Sanji telling him, like, "I told you, I went to bring Pudding food, and don't ask about what happened after. It's rude." I don't know if I pick up on that joke without that. Like, I don't know if it was phrased differently in the manga, but I don't remember it being that funny. I don't know.
No, I don't remember that either. I don't think did that scene happen in the manga even? Like, I don't even remember that whole scene in the manga.
I think it did.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was the fact that it was a more memorable scene in the anime, I guess, is credit due to the anime team.
Right. Funny joke.
Yeah, it was a funny joke. I enjoyed this episode considering there wasn't a lot of material here.
Right.
Not to spoil what happens in the manga, but it felt like a pretty good mirror image to what we talked about this week.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
The first third was slow, in my opinion, especially. So I really like the Jinbei material, and I like the Vinsmokes Sanji stuff as well. But as you said, it's also like I thought we were gonna get like at least the wedding guests arriving this episode. I was wrong.
Yeah. Although I did like Big Mom's reaction to the wedding guests coming, and I like that they specifically call out Morgan's because they know he's the popular one.
Morgan's, and they also mentioned Dufeld.
They did? I thought they just said, and Mr. Morgan's will be coming.
Oh, yeah, right. When they talked to Big Mom, but they mentioned the Dufeld Corporation or something like that.
But it's kind of weird that Big Mom would be her ears would perk up from Morgan's, but I'm not going to question her amazing taste in people. And well, I'm not going to spoil it, but you should be watching next week's episode.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it though. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. It's very slow, but like, because Ed has been saying for the past few episodes, he's like, "Oh, it's slow, but I like the suspense. I like the build up." Like, to me, that's what this episode is. Like, that's when I want something that's like slow, but you're kind of really basking in the moment. I think that this episode is like, it looks really nice. It's really polished. There's a lot of little atmospheric flourishes. You get the things like the Vinsmoke's getting ready in the morning, and like the cutaways to the different towns, like that makes it feel like a lived in world, and that's where I get that's where the style really breathes the most, in my opinion.
And that's the part that I liked about the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else anyone want to say? Ed, did you get all your thoughts out?
I did, yeah.
Zach?
I think I'm good. It's nice to be on an anime recap again. I hope to be able to do this more.
All right, that should do it. Let's move on to the next segment.
Yes, and that segment is probably pieced together. This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories. Let's start this week, Ed, with
DSP.
This is available only for Patreon subscribers on Discord. If you have more questions, just all you have to do is send a screen cap of your Patreon account onto Discord, and you should be getting accepted into what it's called, the Grand Fleet account there. So we have 3 of them this week. First one comes from Tommy Duns, who says, "Hey, One Piece podcast, have you guys ever felt burned out on One Piece? I'm reaching the point where I don't enjoy reading the series week to week for multiple reasons, such as the crew not being together, Sanji in this arc in general, and feel a break would benefit. Also, reading in bulk would help. I assume this would have happened to you guys in Dressrosa because you have been so vocal about it, but because you guys have a weekly podcast about the manga, it would be difficult to do. Any tips?"
It happened to certain members of the podcast during Fishman Island. I know that.
Yeah. Sometimes when you don't hear, Alex and Steve aside, because they, have had work reasons they haven't been on. But sometimes when you don't hear a member of the podcast on for a while, that is the reason. Steven, I know you have a story.
I burned out in Impelled Down, and that was partially due to the what was happening in the series at the time, but it was also kind of more, I think, of just a personal thing where I was at the time. And so I actually kind of sat out most of Marineford, and I think I got right back in really focused on a weekly basis when they went into Luffy's flashback. So I ended up reading most of Marineford in volume form. I don't know. It's, whether in terms of advice or whatever, it's kind of hard to say, because it depends on what you like to do. One Piece really, if you talk with people on Twitter or Reddit or Discord or something like that, or if you're just you just take it in every week and that's it. That may change what advice would be best. But I will say that if you are able to hold off for a period of months or a year or something like that, then you get all the benefits of the marathon read without having to slog through it week by week and go through all of the waiting the first time. So
waiting is the hardest part.
You can look forward to that, I guess. But
it's a fun way to experiment, being not plugged into everything that's happening all the time. Yeah. Most of the anime I watch is from the 90s. Besides One Piece, most of it's from the 90s. So,
yeah. I would. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
No, I'll get burnt out maybe one day a month, and then I'm good.
I'm gonna be really honest here. I'd actually echo what Steven said about Impel Down with this arc. I'm enjoying this arc. I think people who are listening to me, I don't have very many complaints about this arc, but I think my social life, my professional life has been extremely busy lately. As I'm sure people may have noticed, episodes might be slightly shorter than they have been, and I'm just slightly less online, which is not a bad thing for my sanity either. But it's I'm way less connected to chapters. You know, I'll read it the day it comes out. I'll do the podcast the day it comes out, and then I kind of put it down, and I don't really revisit it until the next week. Not to say I'm not super excited on the day it comes out to read it, but it's just kind of like it's more of a momentary thing than it's been in the past. Like, usually when I'm into One Piece, that chapter is like, that's a part of my week, you know, that's like but it's not any knock to the arc. It's more of an, you know, just I've been kind of crazy lately. This is kind of the first time that's happened, even like in Dressrosa. Even when I wasn't enjoying things, I was at least like super into it. So hopefully that subsides at some point. Let's go to the any other thoughts on that? All right.
No.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one. This one's from Windfire, who says, since you guys wanted suggestions for when Zach wins the whole cake lottery, damn it. My suggestion is that you could do a nostalgia style podcast episode where you could do it like one of your first episodes with someone rambling on in the style of Fire Crouch and have Ed step back from his microphone so we could barely hear him. Other than that, your podcast is great. I hope you guys continue on. What a great
like season 1.
Yeah. I used to, by the way, Ed, I used to just like half the podcast I'd be like, Ed, no one could hear you. Can you please step closer to the microphone and just speak louder? And he's like, no, I'm fine. They could hear me. Ed is if anything, overly confident in himself.
That was only for like the first 6 months.
But that was like your first 200 episodes.
That was literally like, I think that was actually, I think, our first 63 episodes. So it's a sizable chunk.
No, you moved away before that first season ended.
Yeah, no. That first season we were in the same apartment the first season.
I thought that was like right.
I
at the
left
end
in
of that.
February of 2010.
Right.
It was right around the Godcast. If people are curious, yeah.
The first J. Michael Tatum interview.
You might notice Ed's quality dips. All of our quality should be not dip. They go in the opposite direction of dipping. We're probably all got better. I used, for those curious, my first microphone was a Best Buy microphone that had no real brand name. I don't think it was like $20. It was a piece of shit, and Ed and I shared it. Yeah, don't listen to those episodes unless you're ready for some auditory crap. Final disc piece comes from Morgul, who said, after seeing how the people on Nuts Island reacted to Big Mom's destruction, do you think a revolt might be on the horizon?
Yeah, how are they going to do that? Them and what army?
Yeah.
Point.
No, the guy's going to look at the other one. Forget it, Jake. It's Nuts Island.
I'm writing that down, but I'm not using it.
Yeah. Okay. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't deserve it.
Any other? No. No other thoughts.
Repeat the question.
If there's going to be some sort of revolt after this, I think
from
everyone's
the Big
just
Mom Pirates.
No,
or from the
citizenry.
citizens.
I think they're all just going to leave.
The walnuts are going to revolt because they are revolting.
This chapter is kind of the first chapter where we're really concerning ourselves with the citizens' well-being, at least as far as this climax goes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all the people from the Peanut Town are going to go to the Beanie Island, like I originally said. Okay, let's go to emails. First one comes from Ryan, who said, if you could each write an official chapter of One Piece, what would it be about? Advancing the story, lots of lore and backstory, a slice of life, fan service, any of the other things you could think of. What would your chapter of One Piece be about?
Yeah, like I said this last week too, it was like the lore and backstory. That's the spin-off I want, and that's also what I want this to be.
Steven.
I honestly, it's kind of funny that I'm thinking this, but I think I would be the opposite. I would just want to do like, hanging around, sailing to the next island, shenanigans on the deck of the ship, because I feel like that's something that we've gotten less and less of. over the course of the series. Like Oda was talking about it in the interviews with the in the One Piece magazine last year, how he just kind of doesn't have time to relax and kind of give the story like as much breathing room as he potentially could, because there's just so much going on and there's so much he wants to get through, so that it doesn't take another 30 years to finish. And I feel like stuff like that is one of the victims of that, this kind of set of circumstances.
Sam.
I don't know how to answer that question. I kind of like to just kind of sit back and see what Oda actually puts in front of me. That's kind of my deal.
Erotic fan fiction.
We all know what you were thinking, Sam, and it's
very...
what Steven whispered to you. I mean, if it were me, this is it's a weird. It's kind of like what Steven was saying. It would be that like first chapter of Jaya with the ship falling from the sky. It's where you get all the banter and then something crazy happens out of nowhere with no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
That's
right.
kind of
like
the chapter I want.
Like the ship falling out of the sky.
Yeah, and if you asked me this a couple of years ago, I would probably have an answer more like Ed's. But right now, that I want something kind of wacky and out of nowhere that may have some ties to a greater story, but who knows if it does. Let's go to the next question from Martin, who said, this is not for our international audience, by the way. What American national holidays would each Straw Hat claim as their favorite? I mean, we all know Luffy's, right?
Independence Day.
July 4th, yeah, definitely. Yeah. It has everything Luffy would like in a holiday. Meat, fireworks, robots. No one's going to question
robots associated with the 4th of July?
They will be. Any other?
I feel like Robin would be like Columbus Day. That's a holiday.
Well,
right?
it's what is it, Indigenous Peoples Day or whatever?
She'd like
right.
Peoples Day.
Exactly. She'd support the Indigenous Peoples Day.
That was a controversial answer there. Columbus Day, not.
That's she studies the people like that.
I'd say whoever's the most Italian would definitely be, but I don't know who would fit in that camp.
I don't know. Is Zoro, he like Labor Day because you celebrate work by doing nothing?
Sanji maybe Thanksgiving. I mean, Luffy would also like Thanksgiving. There's a lot of American holidays that involve eating.
Chopper likes Christmas.
Luffy would hate all the Jewish holidays,
except for the ones where you eat.
I guess there are a couple of those.
Like Passover.
Are we defining American holidays as any holiday that is celebrated in America, regardless of if it's around the rest of the world too?
Sure. I didn't make the question.
Okay, because I was just like thinking, like, okay, President's Day, really random American federal holidays. Well, I mean, see, it's tricky because some of them are literally like they were born on the holiday, like Usopp is April Fool's Day and Chopper's Christmas.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're drawing a blank for anything else.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying. Yeah, I can't even. Okay, let's see what's next here. That might actually be it. I think I thought there were a lot more here, but oh no, here. There's Let's see. Now, this is from Hassan, who says, now that the Whole Cake Island arc is almost over and we've gone through so much with Sanji since he left the crew in Zou, do you have any expectations or desires for when Sanji and Zoro meet again, presumably in Wano?
I want them to act like nothing's happened. Like nothing's changed.
That's probably how that's going to work, yeah.
Yeah. That would be the comforting thing of that story for me. It's like, these things don't change.
That'll do it. What's on Reddit? Stephen.
All right. We will begin with Narthon, who says, thank you for doing such a great podcast. Oh, you know how to get your question read.
Yeah.
Most podcasts with large amounts of people on them turn into a mess. Zach does a good job of managing the crowd while giving everyone a chance to talk. Keep up the good work.
One at a time, Sam.
I think this is why it works for Zach to be the overall host of the show, is because he would never want to listen to his voice first.
Ed's right. Versus Ed, who would be the only one who would want to speak. Everyone, I'm talking.
So
Not
Nathan
without good
continues.
reason. Yeah. Go ahead.
Nathan continues. Interesting how in the New World fights are either T-bone like, very short clashes, or multi-hour slugfests. I hope people are appreciating Sanji's quick defense of the Sunny and not criticizing him for not quote unquote winning big fights. People with such criticisms may not get the point. I think this is an underappreciated role for Sanji, Nami, Usopp, Brook, and especially Robin. They're able to quickly deal with what would be an otherwise devastating event due to their skill and intelligence. They can leave these stamina-dependent fights to the meatheads. Yeah,
I do like the quick
leadership.
fights. Like,
Yeah, I guess I don't necessarily see a quick, a single chapter kind of act of heroism or somebody stepping in to save the day in a single scene as being necessarily inferior to okay, here's the bad guy, they did their thing, I don't know how to beat it, now I have to struggle, now I figured out how to do it and then I beat them. I don't think it's necessarily inferior to that model.
and I think it suits this particular climax where like there's one like core fight and then like everything is just like a scatter to like keep the Sunny moving. And
yeah, it is an adventure manga most of all, more so than a action fighting manga. Ulairi 23 has a repeat question which I didn't read before. When
she did shame you about it, or he?
Yeah, they tried. So okay, here we go. Let's see if this lives up to the hype. When comparing the last panel of the Snake Man chapter, Luffy's King Cobra attack seems to snake around his body before impact, yet in the following chapter, his attack is shown as being straight on like pistol. Thoughts or solutions to this?
So my theory, I haven't reopened that chapter since we originally did the recap, but I assume it did zigzag at first. We only saw the end, post impact, not even actual impact.
Right.
So I assumed it did a lot of zigzagging and then hit. And I think it did when I forget the very end of the previous chapter. I think you see it zigzag. I'll look this up. Yeah,
it may be something that will be clearer in animation. Since
yeah.
I presume they must, have an idea of how they're going to handle that.
Yeah. And even if it didn't in the anime, it probably will.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up. So what? This was like 3 weeks ago. Oh, God, it was a while ago.
It's the end of the category fight.
Yeah,
I think 4 weeks ago was that like there were a lot. There hasn't actually been a break in a little while. Knock on wood. Although I'm positive there will be after 900, right?
This will be 5 chapters straight without a break, which I can't think of the last time that's been the case.
That's insane. Yeah, I mean, Oda, be safe. I know he sometimes pushes himself a little too much, and by sometimes I mean all the time. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking this up. That's what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It works because we just there's simply like a part of that fight we did not see.
Oh yeah, so I'm looking.
Yeah.
So this is the end of its weekly Shonen Jump from February 19th. And the very last thing, it zigzags all around and as they're about to impact. So that's it. That answers the question. He did. And we just saw the very end of that.
I think they're asking, like, if it's going around his body, then how did it end up being straight at the end?
Because it needs to go straight in order to impact.
So is like is like all the slack from the arm that is stretching around his body, does it just like whip over his head really fast?
Well, it seems like
implication.
Like Snake Man, the physics of Snake Man in the chap in 895, 896 seems to be that the longer it goes, the faster it goes. It's kind of like the opposite of what you would almost like in a
right.
I mean, I guess if you're punching with your regular hand, that's the case too. The more distance it gets from your body, the faster it's going to go. If you do a little jab, it's not going to be as strong and it's not going to be as fast as if you do a full-on punch. So I guess with Luffy, this is just that taken to a super extreme.
Yeah, but the question is then why isn't his arm wrapped around his body at the end? That's the thing that they're asking.
I think just because he is out of steam, I don't know. Should I just not be?
A wizard did it. Okay. There you go. There's our inconclusive answer. All right, we'll move on to Samuel1698, who has done his homework.
Oh boy.
We gave him homework, and now he has the answers for his mental depictions of what we look like based on our voices.
Oh God. Okay.
So
wait, I can't wait until. Okay.
So I
wait,
guess,
wait.
All right.
Samuel,
Are these
first
descriptions or
Yes, these are
Samuel.
text
First,
descriptions.
if you don't want to know the actual answers, I wouldn't actually listen to this
No,
question.
I would. No, I would say like we're not going to actually discuss. I'll read them for you, and you can laugh, but you're not going to be like, "Oh no way, that's not me at all." Just don't tell him the answer.
So tempting, though.
Well, I'm reading this already, and it's so wrong. But okay, go ahead.
All right.
here we go.
In my mind, Zach looks like a shorter version of Fukaboshi, roughly 6'2". He is the tallest member of the One Piece podcast.
Am I a merman?
And his face looks similar in shape to that of a Caucasian LeBron James. He sounds 35.
Oh my God, it's
Okay.
all so wrong. What the hell
All
does
right.
a Caucasian LeBron James look like?
Ed looks skinnier and shorter than Zach. Similar comparison would be Batman and Robin, since I imagine Ed being Zach's sidekick. The One Piece comparison would be a not so buffed Law. Ed is roughly
you're very
5'8",
nice.
5'8", and he has a triangular face. He sounds 24.
You're close to
Ed's
my height.
24?
I mean,
No, no. I'm not even gonna say. I don't want to spoil anyone's. I am totally
Mental
6'2". No one look that up.
Sam and Casey are easy. They both look exactly like Caesar, and they're twins. Well, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Damn
that
it!
makes
I thought
sense.
he was kind of being half serious up to this point.
Sam sounds 20, but Casey sounds older. Don't ask me how they have a different age and are twins at the same time. Okay, Steven, and in parentheses, and I'm sorry for this, sounds to me like the typical stock photo white dude with a suit and a beard like this. Okay, let me see. He included a picture,
Wait.
a stock. I mean, that
It's
guy looks
literally a
pretty
stock
handsome.
photo.
I have that guy looks like a model. I don't know.
He is pretty
I'll
handsome.
take it.
Good for you.
I'll take
Steven.
it.
Yeah.
The One Piece equivalent would be a mix between Mihawk and Rob Lucci,
Whoa.
but with a slightly rounder face. You sound 32 years old at most, and I imagine you're 6 feet tall. Boom! You nailed it.
You're 6
All
foot?
right.
I didn't even know that. Yeah.
Actually, there was a period. There was a pretty long period where my mind's eye version of Steven was like my friend Jimmy from high school.
Yep, that's me.
I'm trying to think of
imaginary
how I
friend.
imagine you
high
guys
school.
before I met some
Oh,
of you.
God.
Ed, I knew, first off, I know I can't. I'll talk about that story another time, maybe on Patreon. I can't even. What did I imagine Steve looking like? Fire Crouch was exactly how I imagined him.
I don't know. Jason was always exactly
Jason
like
was exactly how I imagined him too.
I imagined him.
Yeah, and then he finishes, because Steve and the other occasional members of the crew are not in that often lately, I haven't assigned an image to them yet. So in my imaginary table where you all sit, they're like those silhouettes you often see on the news of people who want to speak but can't show themselves.
It's like the Venture. It's like the Venture Brothers. What is it? The Council. The
Right, the Council of Villains or
Oh, yeah.
Calamitous and League of Calamitous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, how did you imagine me looking before you actually?
Oh, that's so long ago now. I probably saw a picture of you pretty early on. So
I think Steven is pretty close to how I imagine Steven looking.
Okay.
yeah.
And Greg shows his face all the time. Like you can't.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever was like blind to what Greg looked like. Greg has a very open internet presence. I don't as much, so there you go. Now I'm a 6'2" Caucasian LeBron James who also looks like Fukaboshi, and I'm 35. My birthday is this week. I am not turning 35. What's next?
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. I wasn't fishing, although I am a fish man. I'm sorry, merman. Whatever I am.
That's backwards, Zach, right?
What is?
You were fishing.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways. Bartolomeo has a longer a comment, but a rather interesting one. I've been thinking about a recurring motif between Luffy and Kaido lately. Both Jinbei and Pedro have said that Luffy is the man they want to bet on. Even Rayleigh on the cover of Chapter 830 seems to be betting on Luffy by betting on the number 5 right before seeing his new $500 million bounty. On the contrary, when Kaido was introduced, it was said that in a one-on-one fight, one should always bet on Kaido. I think that when the time comes, Kaido will represent the safe bet, while Luffy will be the high-risk bet, the one who has to win against all odds. The ante could be the control of Wano, the title of Emperor, the race to Raftel, or all three. This gambling motif is also linked to the card game naming pattern of the Beast Pirates. To go even further, I think the 3 commanders plus Kaido will all be named after increasing card values, starting from X Drake, DS Drake being the 10, then Jack, then an unseen Queen, then Kaido, King of the Beasts. Luffy then represents the ace, thus completing the royal flush, both because the ace is a seemingly low value that is in fact worth more than the king, and because he inherited his brother's will. What do you think?
I was going to say also Ace is dead.
Yeah. There's no ace anymore.
No, there is no ace anymore. I mean, I guess Joker, Doflamingo kind of fits in that too. He was part of Kaido's organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I think the card theme is definitely on point.
On the table. And we have Jin Rummy and all those. I don't know if you mentioned those.
I mean,
right.
Yeah. I think of like the gambling theme a lot with One Piece in general. Like I think that's just kind of part of the fun.
Well, alcoholism and gambling addiction often go hand in hand, and we know Kaido's one of those. So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we think you're onto the right track.
Yeah, I
like people definitely do use that language when they're talking about Luffy and Kaido. So there's a little bit. There's definitely something there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Oda even said, I don't know how Luffy's gonna win against Kaido. I'm still like, how the hell is that gonna happen? I still don't know. But I feel like it's got to be a one-on-one fight because of that line. So we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. ATLA for Life is pointing out the kind of pattern here that Oda is building of massive arc followed by a small arc with lots of world building, and then massive again. We saw with Dressrosa, followed by Zoe, followed by Whole Cake, followed most likely by Reverie, and then Wano. What do you guys think, and how long do you think Wano will run for? I'm going to be a bold prediction and say Wano will last for 125 chapters.
Reasonable.
That's as long as Dressrosa.
No, it's longer than Dressrosa.
Yeah.
25 chapters, which is that's like half a year.
Yeah.
25. I really hope it does not go over 100. I don't want any chapter to hit anything close to arc. I'm sorry. To hit close to Dressrosa, no matter how good it is. I feel like that kind of does a disservice to other, what else we could be seeing to be stuck in one place that long. Even if it's a fun place. Like I'm enjoying Totoland, but I'm getting ready to leave. It's been like 80 chapters now? I'm like,
75 at the sort of 900.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also kind of a natural consequence, especially as the overall arc lengths seem to continue to stretch, just for Oda to be like, okay, I'm going to tell something punchy. I know the scope of it, and I know how to keep it within the boundaries, and, I'll be able to crank it out. It'll take a volume or two. And then, I'll be refreshed and ready to start building the next big one. Because he can't just go from a Dressrosa to another Dressrosa to another Dressrosa. Like I'm sure it takes a lot out of him too. So, yeah. Real Pool has a question. I'm going to pick one of these two. What are the chances that eating the cake will trigger the memories of that day in Big Mom's brain and cause her to go out of control even more?
Man.
I was kind of thinking about that. Like, I mean, I don't think she'd go out of control. Like, what I'm imagining, because we sometimes refer to like Ratatouille moments, right, where, like, she eats something and something unlocks.
Mm-hmm.
It's
what I was talking about earlier with the Yakitate Japan, the bread or food wars type of reaction.
Right. Yeah, I think the interesting option that I'm entertaining right now is that like she like breaks down crying or something. Like it's like a really like it's a real moment you're having with Big Mom as she's like finally like things are kind of clicking in her head that hadn't been clicking for years.
Okay, Zach, any thoughts?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Yeoman Axel wants to know, what One Piece character do you think has the absolute worst fashion sense? My pick is Charlotte Bavaroa, whose outfit consists of a baseball cap, a tattered cape, boxing gloves, toilet paper wrapped around his arms, a striped prisoner's outfit, and a pair of high-laced boots.
We have
And
different
his beard-
taste.
And his beard is shaped like a butter braid. Yeah, well, I definitely called him out on that when we first saw him in the chapter. So I'm right there with you. That's a pretty bad one.
Looking like a scruffy hobo.
Yeah, just pick one design. Pick one element and stick to it. Balrog. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Treble. He wore like a muumuu, right?
Well, he's got like a. I thought of that as like a pimp coat.
Yeah,
I guess, but it looked awful.
he was bad. He was bad.
Oh,
Those are
man.
some highlights of recent memory for sure.
Yeah. Anyone from further back? I always thought the Meow Band brothers looked really stupid.
Yeah, they are pretty stupid. Period.
Yeah. And Pearl is ridiculous, but like it makes sense because those are weapons he's carrying and like armor.
That's it.
That's it for Reddit.
No. I said, does it?
Oh,
Does it make sense?
That is like,
yeah.
screw Reddit. I'm done.
Okay. Prince of Assassins. Okay. All right. You guys have to tell me, is this real? Okay. Hey guys, on last episode of Dragon Ball Super, in the English dub, Trunks' men thought Goku was the enemy and were about to shoot him, but Trunks said, quote, "Hold your fire. This man is not black," referring to Goku Black.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Is that real?
That's real.
Oh God. Wow.
Oh my God. Wow.
What are some dub lines you found especially hilarious in the anime?
In the
Oh,
Dragon
man.
Ball anime? Or the One Piece anime? Because that's insane. That was in the English dub?
Yeah.
wow.
The dub. Like it I think
Yeah,
we need to talk
Eric
with
Vale.
I think we need to talk with Vale. Let's have it about that a little bit.
Hold your fire. This man is not black.
That is just
Yeah.
that's a
I
little-
remember the bit from the
Wow.
commentary that I posted on Twitter last year of the please delete my browser history. That one. I think with when Sanji almost dies of blood loss on Fishman Island. That was a good bit on the commentary. They don't lay stuff like that in the dub.
Yeah. I feel like they know, it's already such a wacky series that I don't think they necessarily want to lean any harder on the jokes, maybe.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, there is that. Oh God, what's that one series? I think it's Ghost Stories.
Yeah,
it's like an
Ghost.
infamous, dub from the '90s where they just basically ad-libbed most of it, or it's like Mad Libs almost, where they just made up their own jokes and just really shit all over the original material, but it's very amusing. Yeah. Kind of one of those forgotten dubs. Let's see. Okay, Professional Sinker says, I'm curious about your thoughts on the non-confrontation between Sanji, Luffy, and Judge in this chapter and how it was handled. I was personally disappointed we didn't get to see Sanji stand up for himself against his father again, or at least have Luffy stand up for him. It feels, to me at least, like the tension between Sanji and Judge is unresolved. While it was nice to see Luffy reassure Sanji, however, inadvertently, it would seem a simple fix to say the same words to Judge instead, thus reprimanding him for his abuse and manipulation, and still assuring Sanji of his value. Even better would have been Sanji completely dismissing him or saying something like, "I just saved your ass. If I'm weak, what does that make you?" It seemed like Judge's atrocious behavior went unaddressed, and I'm not actually sure anything changed for Sanji's character over the course of the arc. Judge was never met with any sort of reprimand for his treatment of Sanji, certainly. Anyways, I'll stop rambling. What are your thoughts on that scene or the way that this relationship was handled in general?
Yeah, I feel like people who were expecting Judge to change didn't really understand Judge. Like, this is a sort of a lesson about like, if you have shitty parents, maybe they aren't going to change. And like the best thing Luffy could have done maybe in that situation would be to not play into Judge's bullshit, of like, okay, I don't even like this is such ridiculousness that you're spouting that I can't even give you a response without also engaging your premise.
Right.
So screw you. Basically.
Yeah.
I like the scene itself. I am not convinced that we are done here with
There's
this.
also that, yeah. I do agree with that.
I do have I don't think I've shared my big theory on the podcast yet. I've shared it on Twitter a couple of times, but my theory that instead of that, because we still need to find out, the full, more story about Germa and like what's going on with Judge and Sora. And my theory has been that instead of like finding out that Judge was like had like a sympathetic past and that's why he was with Sora, we're gonna find out that Sora was actually evil this whole time.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll see about that.
It's my favorite theory I've ever come up with.
Okay,
That
so
says a lot.
don't say anything
Right.
against it.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess to me, I'm kind of satisfied, but I'm also willing to admit that I'm definitely able to infer a lot of things, or to be able to be satisfied with a view on the way that their relationship is depicted that doesn't leave everything said on the table. And some people might be okay with that, and some people might not. But I'm kind of, I guess I would say for now, I'm kind of satisfied with where it is, because it has addressed, I think, a lot of the the stuff about how the way that Judge kind of built this worldview around Sanji, and the way that he has broken out of it and found something better that does not adhere to those principles. And I don't necessarily know that it needs more to be said. So yeah, I guess that's all I can that comes to my mind at this moment.
Okay. Is that it for Reddit, or?
We have a few more.
Okay.
Let's see here. I'll pick out one or two.
Okay.
Here we go. I have to read this one. Vinsmoke VV. According to last week's podcast episode, Zach still hasn't been keeping track of the trivia winners. Well, fear not, because I have.
Nice.
In total, Zach owes Sam, Alex, Jill, and Roger 1 donut each. Kelly and Ed each get 2 donuts. Steve gets 4 donuts, and Steven gets 4.5 donuts. And there's a list. I will read it very quickly. Let's see, going in chronological order.
Oh, this is great. I'm so happy someone did this, because I have not.
Charlotte family, Kelly won. Members of the Don Quixote family, Roger won. Jill won the Vice Admirals trivia. Whitebeard Division Commanders was me. CP9 members, with the bonus round being the Spot Build Duck Squad, was Ed. I still haven't forgiven you, Ed, for winning that one.
I'm so happy she did this.
Totoland Islands was me. Story Arcs pre-time skip was Ed. New Fishman Pirates was Steve, and Charlotte Family was Steve. Races in One Piece, with the bonus round being Celestial Dragons, was me. Characters in the, I guess, the roundtable chapters from volume 25 was Steve, with a bonus donut for me. Luffy's Techniques pre-time skip was Alex. The characters on the Totoland volume covers was Steve. Also, Zach said he would give me half a donut.
I don't remember why I'm giving
I don't remember why either. I think it was for Panda Man, probably.
Oh, yeah, that might be why.
Kelly won Armament Hockey, and then Sam won the Sun Pirates. So
Okay.
That's your first win there last week there, Sam.
This one will be a fun one, I'll just say that. Congratulations, Sam. So Steven's really the man to beat. He's also here every single week.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I have more opportunities than anyone.
Steve did
except
very
for
well
Ed,
considering how much he has been on. I'll say that. 4 donuts, and I mean, Steve hasn't been on every episode since we've been doing this.
He won back-to-back weeks. He won 3 weeks in a row.
He won 4 out of 6 weeks. or 4 out of 6 episodes that we had them. I'm not sure if all of these are.
I'm so happy.
episodes.
So now it's going to be harder for me to repeat them now. So that's good too. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, we've taken a lot of time, so I think we could probably cut it off. There's still a few more, but we can move on to the next part.
Ed?
Peace the treasure.
What's on Twitter this week?
Next one, this one comes from Tom Yorkshire.
You can't say next one for the first one.
Yeah, I realized that halfway through. But yeah, so Tom Yorkshire says, do you think Big News Morgans will be assassinated? Maybe by someone who doesn't want the big news published.
Oh, God. That would be the worst thing that could possibly happen in One Piece.
We were just talking about, taking a break from One Piece.
Yeah, that would be it.
I think they're free to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Morgans.
Next one comes from Sniper of My Heart, who says, what are the chances that in Chapter 900 we get both Big Mom eating the cake and Jinbei officially joining the crew? Well, I definitely said that's kind of what I think is going to happen, so.
Oh, that would be a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, next one.
I'm ready for whatever's coming.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm fired up. Next one comes from Dylan, who says, in what ways is Perospero stronger than Oven and Daifuku? In what ways are they stronger than him? Like, I don't know, I think part of Perospero's deal is that he's smarter than they are. Like, we've seen the way Oven acts.
Perospero is just a walking exposition. Yeah, like, does he really do anything?
Have you seen his candy?
He's got candy, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of candy powers.
Yeah, he sucks.
He has a lot of control over his powers. Like, I mean, Oven and Daifuku do as well, but they seem more like goofs.
Can I say, honestly here, one of my favorite parts of this chapter was seeing Perospero out of commission a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. It says, this is Yin Tab F, who says, do you think Stussy took Morgans with her to make sure the events of what happened in Totoland is written in a way that benefits the world government? Is Stussy connected to the government?
Yes, she's CP0.
Of course.
He's the Judith Miller for the establishment.
That joke is 15 years too old.
Yeah.
Stussy's so undercover that Ed forgot she was undercover.
That's right.
He got brought up once and
that's true.
Never again.
But she's so conspicuous that it's when she does come up. But she's on the loose now with the Newsie. Loosie with the news. Anyway, go ahead, Ed.
Okay, King Loopy One asks, do you suppose this is the Mr. Spoon who came to Tabletown after eloping with Miss Stitch? From the nursery rhyme?
Yeah.
I get it.
I think he didn't. He could have taken more, Mother Goose nursery rhymes into account with these designs. I think he kind of held back on those.
Did we mention the guy next to him who is a frog?
Is he? Oh yes, that guy, the other one.
The one to the left, yeah. Kind of looks like a frog. Go back to the blah 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 page if you're curious. What's next, Ed?
This one comes from Ghost Starch. It says, do you think the presence of Judge could trigger the return of Hell Memories? Sanji in his clash with Daifuku? I don't know what
Hell Memories was.
Hell.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, in when he's in the dress.
Oh,
the Okama dress.
It's transphobia.
I don't understand how that works in this in this. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Pongzilla says, if Bart Simpson were to prank call a One Piece nation like he did Australia, what problems would he cause?
Oh, wow. I think any world government outpost, he could do a pretty good job there. I feel like they're always on their toes for.
Oi, it's the Vice Admiral, Andy.
That's a hard question because it combines two universes in such a weird way.
900 berry booze.
I'm writing that one down.
Why would he be calling in the first place? Whole Cake Island is your cake fluffy? I don't know. What would Bart be confused by? The Coriolis effect. Who knew?
900 berries.
Yeah, it does remind me that basically, nothing to do with that particular question, but like, so the waterfall at Ennie's lobby is like the Springfield mystery spot, right?
So you're saying,
Yeah.
fuck, which baseball player?
Ozzie Smith.
Ozzie Smith is somewhere in that waterfall. What's the next question, Ed?
Okay, next one comes from Logic Wiz 12, who says, "What is something that seems very unlikely, but you really want to see in One Piece?"
Oh my god, everything in One Piece is unlikely. I mean, oh, but I guess yeah.
Unlikely. I still think Luffy might die at the end.
I think unlikely. I think it's fair to say unlikely, but I've always wanted to see like a sci-fi space arc.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's probably not really going to happen.
Yeah, it worked really well for Indiana Jones.
Actually, the space thing that is something that, because I'm hoping that like the moon stuff culminates in like an actual moon arc.
I mean, we've talked about Eneru coming down from the moon, but when you think about it, why would he leave? That is where he's tried to get this whole time.
Let's go to him.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking about this a couple days ago when Sasaki Asashi from Shueisha tweeted the birthday of Lieutenant Spacey.
He tweets the birthdays of everyone, so chances are one day he was going to be doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes he tweets characters from other series as well, but there aren't that many characters, and they don't all have birthdays in other series. So
it's kind of funny.
They'll do.
Because he'll tweet quotes as well, but he doesn't. I don't think he writes them in quotations, so it's just the quote itself. And like he was quoting something. I forget if it was from Bleach or My Hero Academia or something, but it was started off with like, I want to say it was like, "You dumb asshole" or something like that. And I was just like, "Oh man, Sasaki-san, what?" That's like, no, it's a quote. Yeah.
Oh boy, that's good.
What's next?
Cocker Jakku says, "Do you think that Kaido could attempt to kidnap Shirahoshi at the reverie? After seeing Jack's failure to retrieve Doflamingo when up against the top tiers of the Navy, it would make sense for Kaido to do it himself."
No.
Oh God. Oh, you said Kaido. I thought you meant Caribou again.
No, Kaido, not Caribou.
Oh, that would be a real groan-inducing question.
But Kaido, because he doesn't have any more smile, and he wants to start a war, so he's got to figure out some other way to do it.
Well, I guess they have Caribou in their possession, so I guess the Shirahoshi knowledge in Kaido's hands could be an interesting twist.
I mean, it would definitely make me hate Kaido a lot more than I do at the moment.
The geography of it is what makes this confusing. I could see that being a plan of Kaido's, but never able to actually be implemented. Like, oh, this is what Kaido's going to do if you don't stop him. Like, but yeah, I don't know. What's next? Yeah.
Next one. Here we go. Our very own Brian Newton sends in his thought. He says, definitively Luffy's funniest moment in a long while, and yes, the new Giant Warrior band is amazing. Thank you, Brian.
I want to
come
see
back
them
on the show.
Yeah, Brian, come back on the show. I'd rather see them in movement than just standing there, but sure.
It's a very funny moment, is what he was saying.
No, the new Giant Warrior band is funny.
Oh, the Luffy moment is funny.
The Luffy moment is funny, I agree. Yeah, what's next?
All right, next one comes from Pepsi Rules 09, who says, I guess Daifuku had no choice but to rub one out.
Please go to the next one.
All right, last one comes from Dark Leviathan 8, who says, guess Bobbin is 100% dead thanks to the anime. Maybe Pedro and Pound would be dead as well. Also, will Germa save Peckham's?
No. Maybe. Incidentally, but not on purpose.
It's on accident, yeah.
We have not seen any aftermath of Peckham's thing.
Yeah, we've had a lot of just allies just kind of left, in the dust, and without knowing exactly what happened to them. Pedro, Peckham's come to mind.
Bedge and Chiffon.
And Pound.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be some aftermath here.
Yeah, this arc's not over.
No, it is not. Thank you.
Also, no one cares if Bobbin is dead.
That's also true. Robert Adams also mentioned that it was the Thunderbolt that took Judge's head out. Well, it's still there, but hurt him.
It was the Zeus's Thunderbolt that Mama did.
So I want to thank everyone out there for helping my memory, which is pretty non-existent. So let us finish up and do our next round of trivia and see who gets the donut this week.
Ah.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 512 for March 26, 2018. Good episode today, you guys. The four of us, I think, really held down the ship today. We did manga recap, anime recap, piece together. Please support us on Patreon if you haven't. Patreon.com/One Piece Podcast is the place to go for that. That's exclusives, outtakes, bloopers, special videos, episodes, and more. And early episodes of the Manga podcast when those come out. All that, patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. Next week is chapter 900. That is going to be exciting. That's all I have to say about that
Absolutely,
right now.
yeah.
Well, I'm sure it'll be a long episode. So look forward to that next week, kicking off our April. But, Ed, how could the good people... Oh, no, there's more than that to do, actually. Stephen, where could people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus.
Sam?
They can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw. They can find me on AnimeNewsNetwork.com doing the daily streaming reviews for One Piece and Black Clover. And they can find me on the One Piece Podcast every week doing the anime recaps.
And last but not least, Ed, where could the good people find you, me, us, and the One Piece Podcast?
Well, you are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am Edward E. One Piece. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, I've been following along with Grant the Thief on Twitter. I was going through One Piece chapter by chapter, day by day. And today was chapter 81, also known as the last chapter of volume 9 or episode 37 if you're an anime watcher. And he rated it 4 crying Kenshiros. So I think he's enjoying it.
I like how Ed's promoting his Twitter by promoting someone else's Twitter, but you know,
I'm enjoying it. Like,
sure.
if you want to see me post about like Masaki Yuasa anime, because I've been watching Kaiba, and that like the third episode of that like emotionally destroyed me. So you can check
That's a
that
really
out.
good series.
It is very good. The first 2 episodes actually were kind of, but the third episode just very good.
I finished Summit of the Gods, and that emotionally destroyed me more than I thought it would at the end. I was not expecting that to happen. Go ahead.
It's good to hear you're reading manga, right?
Yeah, I'm mostly reading manga now. I haven't really
you have more
watched very
time.
much anime.
Yeah, it's easier to find a little bit of time to do that.
Yeah, commutes and just around the house. It's easier just to read a book than sit down, watch anime sometimes. Also, I'm old. Ed, for an anime fan, not as old as some people think I am. Unless LeBron James looking. Ed.
Podcasts can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/One Piece Podcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. You can subscribe on SoundCloud, Google Play, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Or call us on our phone number, Zach.
And the phone number is 347-497-MAJI.
Maji.
That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your questions, comments, and theories. And it's time for everyone's favorite donut incentivized game, trivia.
Oh, I forgot the Reddit this week. And please support us, patreon.com.
Thank you, Ed. We should also have our fans try and name this segment. It should be something One Piece like punnery. Actually, Steven should have been put in charge of that now that I think about it. Okay, this week we are going to celebrate something that has not yet happened, but since we are going into chapter 900 next week, the supposed next arc will be about the Reverie. So I'm going to be asking each of you, who do we know that's going to the Reverie?
Oh boy.
So this includes the representatives and their bands. And I'll give one little hint here. And that's, you may remember a recent cover page introduced a whole group going there, and I will accept any member of that group.
Oh, boy.
Gosh.
And a group that we also discussed on this podcast that we said probably will be going, but we haven't gotten confirmation, but said they were planning on going at some point.
And does resemble Zach.
No, well, that one too. That's not the one I was thinking though.
Cleveland Cavaliers are going to the Reverie.
Can I make that a title for the episode?
Oh man, that's a good one too.
So, Stephen, can you
With a
write that one
question mark
down?
at the end.
Stephen, write that one down. Okay, so the order this week will be Stephen, Sam, Ed. Easy to remember. Winner gets a donut. I hope Vince Smoke VV out there is keeping track. So, Stephen... for those who don't know the rules, you're going to each name a character who will be going to the Reverie. If you get it wrong, repeat the same one, or can't think of an answer, you're out. Let's get started. Stephen. Please give me some time. It's a pretty long list. Stephen.
Stelly.
Good choice. Sam.
Shirahoshi.
Ed.
Nefertari Vivi.
Did you have to do the full name?
Mm.
I guess you did. Where is she here? Stephen.
Igaram.
Yep. Sam.
Fukaboshi.
Ed.
Nefertari Cobra.
Stephen.
Mamboshi.
Sam.
Rebecca.
Yeah, where is she? Ed.
Karu.
Yeah. Our favorite. Stephen.
Ryuboshi.
Yep.
I already said that one, didn't I?
You said
No.
Fukaboshi.
That's the last
Oh.
one remaining. Remember, these are named characters only as we go through. Named in some fashion. Where are we here? Sam?
Viola.
Ed?
Elisabello, King of Provence.
Do you want to give us what his what do you call that? It's not epithet. You gave that. What number?
Elisabello II.
Yeah, I was just bonus points. You get a donut crumb. I hope she's keeping track of those. No, please don't write that down. Where are we, Stephen?
Leo.
Yep. Sam?
Cub.
Yep. There's a lot of those. Ed?
Sally is Antoinette.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, I was trying to remember what her name was.
I was sitting on that one.
You guys may actually get there's a lot of
No.
weird ones in here.
We're gonna double up.
Stephen.
Chaka.
Where is he?
Somebody say that.
That's one of the isn't that one of the
Alabasta guards.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chaka.
yeah, here. Sorry, I was mixing up with a different group.
Chaka the Jackal.
Sam. Yeah, I got him.
Kureha.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just excited Korea's going. Where is she? I put her down. Oh, I forgot to write her down. I knew she's definitely there. I just forgot to write her down. So Ed.
Dalton.
Yep. Stephen.
Riku.
Do you know his full name? I'm giving it to you. But,
Riku Doldo or Dordo the third or something like
Yeah.
that.
I thought he
okay.
wasn't going
No, he is gone.
because I thought Viola was going in his place.
I think
No,
they're
but then
both
Elisabello
going.
rang up and was like, "Hey, you want to go?"
Hey, bro.
According to One Piece Wiki, he is going. I don't know. You take that with whatever grains you want to take that with. Sam.
Vince Smoke Judge.
Ed.
Walpole.
Stephen.
Oh. All
Got a
right.
lot still.
Bomber.
Oh, here we go. We're going into these.
Yeah.
Damn it, Sam. I was hoping we wouldn't.
Reiju.
Yep. Ed.
Byan.
Yep. Stephen.
Ichi.
Yep. Sam.
Niji.
Yep. Ed.
Yonji.
Yep. You're still missing some like outside of that, these groups. Sam. Stephen.
Flapper.
How could you forget about Flapper? Sam. You didn't. That's his line.
I'm tapping out. I think that's all I
What?
got.
No, you could at least try. Say something.
Oh, Donsai.
Yep.
No, I don't think Sai's going. I don't have him.
Hmm.
Do we have any confirmation that Sai's going? We know that the king of
Well, we saw them talking to like one of their guys.
the king
One
of
their-
Kano is going. We know that. We just don't know if the military is going. I don't think we have confirmation with that, Sam. I'm sorry. We're going to have to let you go. Since you were tapping out anyway. Ed.
Oh, God.
But Ed still has to get this. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Otherwise, Stephen wins.
Let's see.
3
Oh,
seconds.
man.
There's a lot left.
Iceberg?
No.
Well, I mean,
Stephen gets a donut.
Yes.
Stephen, as the winner this week, you get to say any others that you're able to name.
Did anyone say Pell?
Nope.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Any
Yeah.
There's
others? There's some big ones. There's one big one left. The rest are all small ones.
One big one. I can't think of anything.
It's a
off the top of my
king.
head.
There's one king that's still missing that none of you guys named. There's a reason you guys don't remember.
King Kai. I don't know.
King Neptune.
Oh.
You
Then
said all the kids.
so
Right.
then and
it's hard
okay.
to know like which ones are like, because if some of them are like sending parts of the family, but not the whole
Right.
thing.
So
I just ended up going with all the family members I could remember.
so there's the rest of the Tonta squad. I don't know what we call them.
Oh,
Rampo.
Megalo probably going.
Oh, we don't know. I don't think we have a.
Rampo.
I guess Megalo would have been a correct answer. Mauji, Chow, Inhel. I don't know if these are the official translations. It's One Piece Wiki. Cotton,
Yeah.
Wicca, Nuban, Baxcon, Daikon, Bomba, Bellini. And then my two favorite that I can't believe you guys didn't get, Ms. Universe and Hakowan.
Oh,
The
I
little
thought
dog.
about Wapple's wife, but I couldn't remember her name. Or
Ms.
she had
Universe.
a name beyond Miss Universe.
That's the name. So, Steven, you get a donut. You're
Yes.
All right.
officially in the lead with 5.5
Five
donuts.
and a half. Yes.
I'm gonna have to buy you. Oh, by the way, Steven, whenever I do finally get to see you in person, what donut brand do you prefer?
Donut brand. I mean, if you're talking national, I don't know.
Well,
Krispy Kreme's
wherever,
pretty
yeah, wherever's closest to you, I guess.
good. Yeah, we have
Krispy
lots
Kreme's
of
a good choice.
lots of local places.
I respect that. So the score is Steven 5.5, Steve 4, Ed and Kelly 2, Sam, Alex, Jill, and Roger each have 1, and I have 0 donuts.
I
That's
think
gonna do it.
Ed is ahead of Kelly by a crumb right now.
Yeah, that's true. He is by 1 crumb. That's the tiebreaker. We'll do some sort of tournament of champions at some point in the distant
God.
future. So that'll do it for the One Piece podcast, chapter 900 next week. Get excited. We also have an anime recap, piece together whatever we could squeeze into that episode, and probably a little bit of a discussion about the interview in the official Shonen Jump. If you have not, please subscribe at shonenjump.viz.com. This is a great opportunity to see, I think the upcoming, I assume there's a color spread or something for this next chapter coming next week, and the interview, more importantly. So, until then, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And that's the two hosts. Thank you. Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Sam. We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
See ya.
涙乾かしてくれる風を探しに行こう冒険の旅誰かと出会うために立ち止まらないさほら前に大切な君が待ってる
I also didn't notice Montour's, like, transponder snail book system thing going on there.
It's a phone book, Zach.
Okay. Okay. Okay.